the skill you have is not something that, in my opinion, someone learns.
I felt like my filmmaker was dying inside me.
My favorite type of motivation are those people that say you can't do it.
They look at your eyes and tell you, wow, I'm so proud of you. That is the best feeling ever. But it takes years. Sometimes some people won't even say it.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. We have Mr. Vipul Bindra over here running Bindra Productions. Can you want to introduce yourself?
Well, yeah, like you said, I'm Vipul Bindra and run Bindra Productions. And thank you again, guys, for inviting me to be on this podcast.
So today in this podcast, we're going to talk to Vipul, and we're going to talk about how he grew his business and small little things as a filmmaker and the things that you have to learn as a business owner to be able to grow both aspects. So yeah, you guys want to run any ideas? I know you have some questions.
Well, first of all, I guess you're the one that is being farther in the industry, so that's always super cool to hear about, to kind of look back in the day and how it was like when you were like us. And you know, I'm excited to see when do you start feeling, you know, that you wanted to be a video producer, and then, you know, business owner, how that fold out.
So no, for me, it started pretty much as a kid, like in my early teens. And back then, you know, cell phone videos weren't that good. You know, we didn't have access to the tools like we do. So I just wanted to, you know, make movies with friends, right? As a kid, you know, I was into games. You know, Assassin's Creed had just come out, and I was just like, I just want to make this in real life. I don't know why. So that was what was enticing to me. It was to just make real life videos. And funny enough, if you know what to search, you can still find those videos, and they're bad. They're really bad. But, you know, using the tools we had, I still remember, like, the cameras, you know, use DVDs. It was just a pain to even get footage off, to edit. So I was using, you know, Premiere Pro, which wasn't the best at that time, you know, and taking footage of CDs.
It's still not the best.
Yeah, the microphone, we were doing ADR, you know, with this, like, the webcam type of mic. You know, like, it had a stick. Yeah, exactly. We had it for video calls, but you know, you had to use, you know, you had to be, you know, you just find resources that were around you to just make fun movies. Like I said, making a costume out of just, you know, just taking like a bed sheet. I still remember like sending my mom to like a, you know, where she got her clothes, like, you know, dyed. Like, hey, I need this. Like, I bought a white bed sheet. I still remember sending her. I was like, okay, I need this to be neon green, because you know there was nowhere to buy a green screen because we needed a green screen. The point is, you know, we were just friends coming together. Somebody else was studying, you know, 3D and, you know, VFX, so they would do VFX. So just making movies, you know, having fun. That was kind of my start. There was, you know, YouTube wasn't that popular back in the day, so we were just posting on YouTube. But it was nothing like today. I don't think there was even a way to make, you know, money off of it. So it was just friends having fun. You know, that's basically where my start came from. Then eventually, you know, in India. So I grew up in India. So you have to kind of choose in 11th grade. You know, it's like you gotta either pick medical or engineering or just arts, which, if you pick that, OMG, everyone, you know, your parents will hate you forever. So obviously I went with engineering because I didn't want to be a doctor, because those were my only choices. But funny enough, you need to spend a lot of time. Like, entrance exams are very difficult. So even though I was kind of studying to be an engineer, back of my mind, I wanted to be a filmmaker, right? So I still kept on writing stories, scripts, because at that point I was still more interested in, you know, the movie side of it. So anyway, it was just still doing with friends, making movies while I should be studying, like, you know, 24/7. I was playing around with Premiere and Final Cut. Finally got a Mac, you know, so Final Cut, things like that. Essentially, I was just kept doing that. And then when finally, you know, finished school, time to go to college, I just went to my mom and was like, listen, I am not going to engineering school, so I need to go to filmmaking school. So the closest thing I could find to where I lived, so I wouldn't have to, you know, not live at home, was a mass communication journalism degree, bachelor's degree. But they had a film aspect to it, right? So I would get to study, you know, journalism, you know, like cameras, sound, everything, but I also had to study radio, which I had no interest in. So it's kind of, and newspaper. So that was the negative of it. So I had to kind of pick all of it. So anyway, went to college, came to America, you know.
So which college did you end up choosing to come?
So I went to Chitkara University, which was like I said, the only local place at the time. This was back in what, 2008-ish? when I started going to college, maybe, or 9, I think 2009. Point is, that was my only option. So yeah, it was a university in Chandigarh, India, where I'm from, and like I said, I went to study journalism and mass communication, and then eventually came to U.S.
So then, what was the step from there? Did you finish your degree over there?
Yes.
From-
Well, technically, I was here so I never got to go to my graduation, but I have a degree. I did graduate.
So then, what was that step from India to here?
So I, like anyone who comes to Orlando, I participated in the middle of my, first semester. I came here through Central Michigan University, so it was like an exchange program for the college program, which is a common thing people do in Orlando. That's how I got my introduction to Orlando and through Disney to America. And, just kind of came here and kind of fell in love. Not with Disney, but with the city, with the environment, and everything. And then kind of made the connections. So I did go back to finish, the couple of semesters I had left, but made enough connections to come back. And then while I was working for Disney, I was starting to do video on the side, right? This is before, like I said, again, you were using Canon T3 somethings, right? So, but trying to just offer corporate video, just be a freelance filmmaker. That essentially is how I started. So this was around, I would say 2011-ish, 2012-ish.
So then, what went from you going to college to going to America?
So during college, we had to actually go work for, we had to go, kind of work at an actual place. And then I obviously wanted to go in television. So I went and worked for a channel, NDT, which is a news channel, like a very large channel. But I worked on Gadget Guru. Because, growing up, all I wanted to do was, tech and then somehow film at the same time. And that was the only option. So I literally went in my internship interview and I was like, okay, I want to work for this show here. I didn't know I was going to get in. They were like, sure. So, here I am literally editing CES footage. I don't know if you know, it's a consumer electronics show. It's like the biggest electronics show footage. And they had the hosts had just come back. So that kind of ignited the love for America, right? Because I wanted to come and go to Vegas and attend CES myself. And if I could film that, review tech at the same time. So that was kind of where the passion for tech in America and just electronics and filming it, reviewing it, all that was coming into place. And like I said, the Disney opportunity came and I kind of just jumped on it. And even though, like I said, my future was going to be reading news or doing something in news in television in India, I kind of didn't want to do that. I kind of was like, I want to build my own path. So first opportunity came from Disney. I jumped on the plane and came to Orlando.
So I am originally from Brazil and like born and raised there. So I came here for college as well. So it's a very similar introduction that I got to the U.S. Now Brazil has a pretty big industry when it comes to filmmaking, when it comes to commercials. And you being from India, I mean, in Brazil we got a lot of movies from Bollywood and here too even. And there's bad stuff because you're laughing there, but there's also good stuff.
Yeah.
There's like really good productions from there. My question to you is if you ever thought of making movies there in India and like why not? If because like you're here, right? So eventually you chose to be here. Why didn't you choose to try to make a career there? And I ask myself that question when it comes to Brazil. That's why I can relate to your story a little bit.
I think that's a very good question. But you have to come back to when this time was, right? Not now. It was 2010. And then at that time, corporate filmmaking wasn't a thing. It was barely a thing here, talk about in India. And I wasn't interested in movies. To be honest, like I said, if you bring me on as a DP or something, it's different. But I really am not interested in making movies. I'm interested in the business side of it. I want to help a business owner grow. And you'll hear that, like I said, as we talk more. But ultimately, at that time, my option was literally do this gadget show in India. Which, like I said, I would have been happy to do, or come to America, take this opportunity and build something. So that opportunity wasn't there. I was zero interested in Bollywood, like I'm zero interested in Hollywood here. So what I'm interested is in maybe reality TV would be the closest to anything. But otherwise, I'm very happy where I am. I really want to be the master of the corporate, commercial niche, and so. That opportunity didn't exist in India then. I'm sure it's come up a long way thanks to YouTube and camera access now. But like I said, this was the best opportunity and I had the option, like I said, stay a journalist in India, which would have been fine. Like I said, I'm happy reading news on television. I look better then too. So, but no, like I said, this seemed better, right for what I wanted to do, and like I said, in hindsight, it was the right move because had I stayed there, it would not have been as rewarding of a career that I've had coming in.
No, I understand. I thought your background was more into filmmaking up until you actually chose your path. That's why I asked. So I don't know if you guys want to like transition from what he's saying right now into where he is, but you already kind of jumped into it a little bit. You said you do more commercial work today, a lot of corporate work. You want to talk a little bit about how you got to that?
Sure. So from 2010 to about 2018-ish, I did freelance filmmaking, which is I think where a lot of filmmakers that I know, in the corporate world are. Where it's kind of like, you talk to a business or to an agency and they need you to go film something, and I had like I think Canon T3i, T4i, something like that. That's what I was using. We didn't have that much equipment then, right? Whatever we had, it was very researchful. Yeah, it was like those
that's what
light
the camera's
bulb
shooting with right now.
Yeah, the light bulb fixtures. I still remember like soft boxes. Like we didn't have any LED lights or anything. It was like CFL type bulbs. But anyway, that's what I did. So for literally about 8 years, I was just freelance. So essentially taking in on every job. I also had, secondary job, like I said, Disney in the beginning, Verizon next, and then about 2018, I was going through that inner thing. I was like, I want to be a filmmaker, right? Like people think filmmaker means movies. That's not correct. Commercials. Like if you watch any Super Bowl commercial, that's produced better than so many low budget movies. So I wanted to be a real filmmaker, but in the corporate commercial world. I kind of wanted to change it. Like every shoot I've been to, every time I was hired, it was the same cheap equipment. By the time I had upgraded to GH5Ss or whatever was the latest tech then. And I was like, why does it have to be one guy shows up with one camera? Gimbals were getting popular then, so just gimbal, barely any lighting, throw one light. And that's basically, it was the type of shoots that I was observing anywhere around me. So I kind of wanted to change that. I was like, what if we could just give every business access to the best possible video? It doesn't matter you don't have $1 million budget. You will get access to best video. Essentially, that's where my transition into being more of a production company owner came from. So to 2018, I looked around. I knew a Grammy Award-winning audio engineer. I knew filmmakers who were really good at, for example, at sound, for example, at graphics. I knew a cousin in India, very good with, animation. So essentially kind of like calling everyone, be like, hey, what if you would be exclusively my partner in this field? Meaning you can still go do your indie projects on your own, but like in corporate world, you're exclusive to Bindra Productions, right? Or in, same thing with the animation. Hey, you can still go sell your services on, Upwork or wherever, but like corporate, you're exclusive to Bindra Productions. So kind of brought together, 6-7 people that I knew and started Bindra Productions. So this was 5 years ago in 2018. That's how I kind of transitioned into being a production company owner. And then our rule was simple. Like, you call us for a low budget. We're still going to use our cinema camera, still going to use the best microphones, kind of like just level up any of our clients without compromises. And like I said, that's how Bindra Productions was born. And now 5 years later, we're still going extremely strong.
Mm-hmm. Are you still working with the people you started the company with?
Yeah, I literally just got a gig for the animation. Now, obviously, it's more than just one person now. Like, I have 6 people doing animation for me. I have, multiple people doing audio for me. So, yeah, it's actually expanded a lot more. But everyone who was initially involved is still involved in some way or the other.
How did your business, when you're looking for new business and you're looking for new clients, how did that start and how did that transition to now? And what would you say are the differences between positioning yourself as a freelancer and then positioning yourself as a business owner, a production company owner?
So in the beginning, it was quite literally, to be honest, okay, I'll tell you the story. So this is how it actually happened. I was kind of had a job and I had this guy. So I was running like a store. I had 15 sales rep under me, right? So I was a manager. So one of the sales rep, we weren't even that good friends back then. And I hope he's watching, but he literally goes to me, he's like, can you design me a logo? Can you, he was giving me work, right? And obviously as a freelancer, I'm taking it, but I'm also his boss in a way. So he literally goes, he's like, why are you doing this? And that made me literally rethink. I was like, why am I at this job? Like, if I'm making more money through my freelance and through my other investments, why do I have this job? And then I quickly realized I was in that mode where you get, I was, morning to night working, but I have that security, right? Every week a paycheck is coming. I have, benefits, and I was just afraid, like, what if I go full time, like just running a company? So anyway, he brought me my first client as an official Bindra production, you could say. He literally was like, hey, I have this dude who wants to make a movie, and you know what that means. So he's like, hey, I want to go get investors. So can you make this 3 scenes of a movie so I can cut together a trailer and, go get funding? And that was I would say, official first client of Bindra Productions as a production company, than just hiring me as a freelancer. So I quickly went in, registered the company, hired this guy, obviously nothing, I would show everyone. But I literally gave it my all to the tools that I had. And again, this is all the equipment I had at the time, right? That's how I got my first client, through a friend. Like I said, I didn't even go out looking for it.
So me being the nerd I am, what was the equipment you took on set?
So what I had at that time, so my equipment was what I was using as freelancer. So it was GH5S, MKH416, and then what else did I have? Oh, the lav was very popular. I think some people still use it, the Rode Link lav.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, the big box on.
Shout out to the GH5, by the way.
Yeah,
I love that.
You still have it.
I went from GH4 to GH5S. I never had the GH5, so it was the GH5S. I used GH5S as the main camera, and GH4 as the B camera on that. Anyway, like I said, it's funny. And the lighting, I had those soft boxes, like I said, with CFL bulbs in it, because aperture was just coming up at that time.
Yeah, those hot lights. Burn your hands.
What I didn't like was the temperature changed. Like, I filmed so many content with it, and what's funny is when you start to cut interviews, like, it would be cooler and warmer, right? It wasn't consistent, and it was such a pain because you're cutting. Yeah, you want it to be seamless, and it would never be seamless. So, but like I said, you work with what you're given, which is immediately. Like I said, I did that client. He paid me, I still remember, $1,000, which I find funny. Like, I meet filmmakers who are like finding it hard to cross that barrier. And my first, and I was making that, as a filmmaker too, freelance filmmaker. But as a production company, that was my first client, $1,000. I've never worked less than that. That was
so I'm curious, what was your first paycheck as a freelancer? So $1,000 for your production company, but like, what was your first paid project? I'm curious.
I don't even know, $50.
50 bucks?
You know how it is when you start in the beginning.
I'm curious. How much is it for you guys?
My first, it might be photography, wedding, full wedding, $300.
That was your first paid.
First paid, check to the photographer.
Something's telling me $30.
Yeah.
Was it
I don't
in
remember
America
what it
or in Brazil?
That was here.
Here?
Yeah.
I think you and me matched $50. It was a 2-day gig, $50 each day.
Oh, really?
I was
But
so
you
excited
get
about that.
excited, right?
Like
Disney was paying me $7.25 an hour then, and I was like, $50.
Yeah,
exactly.
Let's go.
Like a couple hours. So
Well, and mine took me, I think it was 8 hours, because I did the whole, wedding, changing. Then
I think she beat us. I think she won the game. Because for me, it was 2 full days of shooting, $100 in total. And I was using my very first camera, the M50.
Yeah.
So.
But like I said, as a production company, though, that was my first, was the $1,000. And like I said, I don't charge less than that. But that was just the start. So that made it very easy, right? When I got clients, I was like, well, that's our minimum, right? Because I just did a 1-day gig. That's what they paid me. And I still remember talking to somebody in my family, and I was like, you know what my goal is? I want to charge $1,000 per minute of finished, arbitrary number. You should never do production that way. But at that time, 2018, I was like, I just want to make $1,000 per minute of finished video. And he looked at me and said, you'll never make that. And it's funny, it didn't even take 2 weeks, and I was making more money from that. So kind of like that, there's people always who don't believe in you and kind of tell you can't do it. And like I said, that was the most
That fits me the most. I love to be that person in the room that no one really, it's you do. And I think that takes a lot of pressure of myself. And then it just put me in that mode that I won't quit shit until I am. And I think I've done that in many different aspects. But it's also really awesome when that same people that did not think your plans were straight or whatever, just find something that wasn't going to work out, and then they look at your eyes and tell you, wow, I'm so proud of you. That is the best feeling ever. But it takes years. Sometimes some people won't even say it.
I would say this. My favorite type of motivation are those people that say you can't do it. Because at least when I was in college, like I would get a lot of people around me that wouldn't say it outright, but would give me that look of like, oh, you're just doing whatever. And that was like fuel. That was like nitrous into like me just like going in fully. But yeah, they never said, hey, congrats, you made it.
Well, sometimes they do. Sometimes there are people that actually like you and they thought, oh, you picked the wrong career. You know, I worry. And those are the ones that can, you know, look at you and be like, wow, so proud of you. But there's other people, though, that'll be like, oof, this fucker did it. And then you're like, guess what? I'm not apologizing, you know?
I think the power of like United States is that like you can build your own company, and then you can go from either working a full-time job making a specific amount to now your company, you can make as however as you want depending on how much time or what your industry is. With filmmaking, like you said, your first gig is $1,000 as a company. Now you don't go anything less than $1,000. For a lot of people, $1,000 a day is a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
For now, I hear $1,000 a day, and then I hear what I have to do. I'm like, do I really wanna? It's that weird duality of it.
But you know, to take like what you just said, it also, like you can feel it in this room, right? It takes a certain type of person. Can everyone do this? No, because it takes that never quit attitude. Because there will be obstacles, there will be bad days. And a lot of people, you know, like they hear the first criticism and they'll just quit, right? Or they just feel like they'll get depressed or whatever, right? That's very hard to be successful as a business owner. Or even as a filmmaker with that attitude. So you need that where it instead becomes fuel, right? Somebody says you can't do it, you go, oh, I'll show you I can do it, right? Yeah. Those are the type of people will make it, because you'll realize it's a fact in America, most businesses will close within first 5 years of operation. So as a business owner, your number one goal is just making it past the 5 years, right? Mm-hmm. You made it past the 5 years, you're already more successful than, let's say, I don't know the exact stat, but 90% of the other.
I love that fact.
So you just gotta make it. Yeah, there you go. You just gotta make it to 5 years.
I don't know if that's motivational, if that's like more stressful. Like 90% of companies fail in 5 years. Good luck.
Well, what I think is cool about what you said is that, you know, as a filmmaker, there's that pressure of being an artist in the first place. So you're getting that type of criticism. And the type of criticism you get as an artist is very different than the type of criticism you get as a business owner. Because here you have to make money. So you're following society's rules and norms of like, okay, is this giving me a return on my investment? So if you're doing this video for a company, they need to see some type of return. If it's an advertising agency, then it's not direct return until they implement that into their strategy. But if you're talking straight to a business owner, okay, how do I see value in your video? Why are you charging me $1,000, $2,000 for this thing you're doing in a couple hours, right? And then the other side is, does the shot look good? Are the actors good? Is talent working well here? How's the directing? How's the editing?
Or even more hard, is it aligning with the things I have in my mind, my values, my vision of life? You know, that is hard too, because it's such a pressure. You telling a story that you might not feel 100% in it or something like that, you know.
I don't know at what point you draw your line personally, and we can talk about it as well, but like, how much of what you're doing do you personally do? How much of it do you send someone else to do it? And how much does it all have to align with your values? Or did you get to the point where it's more about the money? And that's fair, you know?
I think the biggest thing I found that changed everything for me, right? Because like I said, I've done videos pretty much all my life that I can remember. It's technology and videos is like my passion. It kind of aligns together because, you know, all the tech we have in filmmaking. But for me, as a business and a success, things changed when I could pick and choose. Because in the beginning, right, you get a project, hey, come film my music video, come make this short movie for me, or come make this commercial for me, whatever. You just take everything, right? You take the call. You basically don't act like, oh, if you don't pay me, I don't have any, you know, money in my bank account. But you take pretty much everything, right? In the beginning, like I said, the biggest stressful point of me doing this was literally me not having that job. and it was the best decision ever, right? So, but I can understand why so many people, struggle to make that step because it's very hard. But the point is, where I found success was where I could pick and choose. So now when somebody calls me, I'm happy to be like, oh, that sounds something exciting. Let's do it. Or, hey, Manuel, hey, I got a lead. You want to do this? Or, hey, here's, I'll give them a phone number. Like, hey, this may not be the right fit for me, but here's somebody I can recommend who can be in that price range or whom I would love to do it. So it's such a freeing feeling where I don't have to take every project. I could pick and choose. And I think that's where the game changed for me, at least, was where I'm no longer like, I have to take everything or else, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills.
Exactly, or else you're going to be in a box the next month.
Yeah, exactly.
That type
right?
of feeling, yeah.
Yeah, and that once that changes, you're automatically free because I'm no longer restricted to, I'm customer service is number one for me, but I am happy to go toe to toe with the client where I know I can give them better results, right? Pick and choose your battles. But now I can do that, right? I can be like, hey, no, this video isn't going to work for you. We need to do this. And most clients obviously will see your vision and be like, you're actually right. Mm-hmm. But if they don't see your vision, you can be like, hey, I'm happy to recommend someone, or I'm happy to just not do this project for you. And that's just, like I said, freeing, and actually has made me more money being able to say no than I ever did before.
100%. I feel like I've just this whole year. I think this whole year was so much of a growing year for me as like a business owner because I started my business last year, and then you start realizing what you really like to do and what you really just don't like to do. Mm-hmm. I did everything a whole year ago. I did weddings. I did real estate. I did a bunch of random video type of music videos or things that don't satisfy me to the fullest. And you realize it's like, cool, yes, I'm doing these jobs, but they're not. First off, they're not satisfying, and second off, yeah, they're paying bills. But I could be spending more time reaching out to more clients and then getting projects that might not even pay as much, but that might satisfy me more in the long run. And I think that's a big lesson that I've learned, and that's what I've been comfortable with now. Where, like you said, I can say no to projects, not fully because like, oh, I have money, but it's like it's just not my not my expertise. It's not my job. Like I say no to real estate jobs all the time. Wedding jobs, I only say yes if it's my friend. Like, hey, I need a backup. Or they don't drive me, they don't make me drive all the way to Panama City. But
who would do that, right?
Yeah. No idea.
No, that's one thing I refuse.
What an asshole, right? We hire him to drive to Panama City, right? Yeah.
Like I said, never shot a wedding, never want to. I'm like, no, I want to, the corporate and commercial. I'm happy that I've been able to stick to that. I don't want to niche down further, even though, like I said, in our industry, they recommend even niching out further. But I'm happy just doing corporate commercial work. That's it. I've never done anything else. Well, besides, I guess, television a little bit.
And some frisky feature films.
Yeah. Exactly.
We signed NDAs.
But, technically it was for a company. See, the way I justify that is so you talk about a movie that we just recently...
OnlyFans is the name of the company.
It's a story about OnlyFans and every single...
They go by OF.
But technically, we were the production company. I supplied the crew. We went and shot. We had nothing to do with creative vision, writing, anything, right? Mm-hmm. And we were out. When we were done, here's the footage, kind of like we weren't actually making the movie. We were just a production company. It was a kind of change of pace.
I have 2 questions, and they might be related. One of them is, how today do you pick out each crew for each different project, right? And how do you do you? Because I'll be honest, I haven't seen any of his company's work. I haven't seen anything. So I have no clue if I'm talking to Spielberg or if I'm talking to someone that when I watch your stuff, I'm gonna be like, I don't know. And that's cool because that makes me like really get more curious and ask. That's why I didn't even look at it.
And our viewers.
I really haven't.
Check him out.
I really haven't. Yeah, so that's a good opportunity.
Click on his face.
Yeah.
But that's cool. So my question is, do you pick and choose different directors or cinematographers for each project? I know you own equipment as well, so do you always use your equipment? Do you always shoot? I don't even know that much. And then, because to me, you seem very much like the business owner side. I don't know about your production side. And then my other question with that is, if an agency comes to you and they want to have that creative control, then do you let them come to set with you? You know what I mean? Do you adapt to different sizes of projects?
That's actually a very good question. So, yes, and I guess yes. So technically, yes. So I operate a video production company first and foremost, right? So what that means is we're happy to just be the production company, as in like we definitely work with agencies. Actually, they provide more than half of our revenue, where they come in, they all, with these large companies, you have to work with agencies. They'll come in, here's our vision, here's the training videos we want done, here's the script, right? Make them. And we're happy to, like I said, I build the team. I'm usually the producer director, and then I'll hire whatever the team is needed, right? And then make that happen. We have zero technically creative control besides, being able to choose obviously the camera packages, lens packages, things like that. But ultimately, they choose the story, right? We have no end point. We don't do post. We don't do anything. Then the other side of the content is where we are working directly with the end client, right? Those are obviously the type of content we want to work with. I want to work directly with business owners. That's where my expertise comes in. So there's two parts of me, right? So I'm a filmmaker, I'm a nerd, I could sit here and talk 10 hours about cameras and the equipment and everything. But then there's the business owner side of it. So with the agency, I'll talk about the camera package, the lens package, all that, right? When I'm talking to a direct client, I will never mention any equipment, right? Because that is not relevant. And that's why I was saying it doesn't matter when you go to my page and see any of my videos. They don't matter to me. What matters is how much money that business owner made, right? So this is the other side of it. And I enjoy that the most because I work with the business owner directly, and I'll ask them. So they'll come up to me usually. They'll say, oh, we want to make this video. And I'll sit down for them with a deep dive, and usually, most of the time, it's not that video they need, right? They're like, hey, we want to increase our revenue. Or I'm spending thousands of hours training these people, and we have a high turnover rate, so it's money going to waste. And that's where we can come in and see how this video can actually solve business problems. So if, let's say, my client is a custom home builder, their end product is, I don't know, a $10 million home on average. The video, even if it gets one more extra client, right, my video, if one person watches it, they go and hire them to make their custom home, they've already made 100x the ROI back on the video, if that makes sense. So we're never striving for views. Yes, I've done some TED Talk videos where you get hundreds of thousands of views, sure. But the goal isn't never to get videos. The goal is how can we, penetrate the actual audience. Then how can we find the right buyers? Because we want to actually eliminate. It's the opposite process. Usually when you're making videos as a filmmaker, you want more eyes to be on it, right? More people to watch it. On the other side, what I'm trying to do is tell them, no, we don't want people to watch the video if they're not going to buy from you. We want to find the right audience. So how can we make sure the people who are not your right audience will watch this video and be like, okay, this is not the right company.
I'm going to have to stop you right there because of what you just said. So I come from a advertising, public relations background. That's my degree. And then my master's is in storytelling. So a lot of what I do is I look at that. I look at the target audience. And then whenever I'm producing any kind of content, it can be from a photo all the way to a movie or a commercial that just looks like a movie, looks cinematic. You're still looking at the audience and seeing what's going to penetrate that type of audience, right? And how I'm going to reach that type of person. Sometimes very niche, like you're saying. But with that in mind, with all of that background, when I translate that into video production, how do I balance between the advertising side and the production side? Because a lot of what you're saying, you're positioning yourself almost as an advertising agency when you work directly with the customer. When you're doing straight, talking to the final customer, right? Or talking to the business owner that's then going to talk to the final customer. So how do you do that? Because if you make them the best video ever, and you might be communicating that message, if that message doesn't get across through the right platform, for instance, are you doing YouTube? Are you doing Instagram? Are you doing paid ads? Who's running those? How's that transition for you?
That's a good question. Again, same thing. It's very different for each client, but again, we're happy to, like I said, most of our revenue comes from agencies, so I'm happy to continue working with them. But let me be honest with you. What I find, and I work with agencies of all sizes, they're at least 5 to 10 years behind what video works. The thing is, consumers are tired of being sold to, right? We're tired of seeing ads 24/7. You turn on any YouTube video, you're sold to for at least 5 seconds, right? So as a consumer, I am tired of seeing ads. I'm tired of being sold to. I'm tired of watching commercials everywhere I go. So what we try to do, again, this is when we're working end-to-end client, we're not trying to make an ad. I don't want an audience person to watch it, like they're a viewer to watch it and go, oh, another ad, right? Like I want them to feel connected to the business. I want them to, again, the storytelling aspect, right? Love the business, want to be a promoter. Don't only want them to buy, I want them to go to their friend and be like, hey, this is the company you want to buy from, right? Without an ad. It doesn't, even if it's going through a paid platform like Facebook or Instagram ad, whatever. I don't want it to feel instantly like, oh, ad. I want it to be storytelling. Now, coming back to how we do that, it's simple as talking to a business owner. You won't believe how many people in advertising, marketing, filmmaking just ignore the business. People don't understand, and I think that's what, again, my uniqueness to this industry is why we've been so successful over hundreds of other people. Because when I sit down with a business owner, like I said, I love filmmaking. In my free time with like other filmmakers, I talk about cameras and nothing else, right? But when I'm sitting with that business owner, I am not thinking camera, lens, storytelling, storyboard, nothing. I'm genuinely just interested in finding out what they're struggling with in their business and how can I help them. I don't have 10-year-old knowledge like a marketing agency. I don't have to make money through ad revenue because like you said, you're in the marketing background. You know exactly how advertising agency makes money. They need ad buys. So if the client doesn't need ad buys, guess what you're gonna still try and sell them? Oh, we gotta run this ad over here or whatever, because that's how you're making your money. You're not making your money through production, very rarely. So their interests don't align with the business owner's interests. And if I'm going in, right, with clear mind that I have to make $0 in this client, I will happily go in, do a deep dive and leave. I don't have to make $1 from this person. That's what I was telling you. It's a relieving mindset where I can sit down with Emmanuel, right, and talk about what his business struggles are. What do you need? What is the end goal for you? Not video. Tell me what do you exactly need. And a lot of times it's not what they immediately think, right? Like it may be certain product. It may be certain, CACs, right? They want to just reduce their customer acquisition costs. Whatever it is, just sit down, talk to the business owner. Then I come up with the video. So video, and if video isn't right, you won't believe how many meetings I've been in where I just literally tell them, dude, you need a billboard, right? You don't need, even though I'm like against them, but if their business needs something different, like, or you need to so they just need ad buys, hey, call a marketing agency. Like, we'll happily come in as the production company if they need it. You don't need me. I am honest with them, and I think that's what's been my success, because like I said, most of our clients come from, recommendation where owners have made, a lots of money. So anyway, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to find out what your business needs and how can video solve them. Obviously, we're not going to...
I don't think you realize this, or maybe you do, but the skill you have is not something that, in my opinion, someone learns. I think you're born with the skill of being a business owner, and I see that in you differently than 99% of the filmmakers I talk to. That's not something I believe one can learn, and they don't have to necessarily, right? So I always say money doesn't necessarily mean happiness, although more money might make you happier. But money doesn't necessarily mean happiness. So not every filmmaker has to be the best business owner in the world, right? Maybe they don't have to own their own thing. But I think it's important for us to realize what we want. And then it's like a whole other question, right? It's more of like a psychological thing, but like, what do you want to be? And for me, just talking to you and seeing that, yeah, you can have that nerd side about being a filmmaker, but I see, when I'm talking to you, I see a business owner. I see someone that understands that can sit down with someone that owns another business and talk to them for the longest time. And I just want to make sure that, that people watching us, you don't have to be one or the other. If you're fully a business owner and you have some interest in filmmaking, maybe you're more of like an investor in that. Maybe you're investing in other companies and you're investing in smaller businesses, and maybe you're buying camera and camera equipment and supporting those businesses and making money through that. But if you're a hands-on kind of guy that just want to do that, that's also okay. And if you want to be a freelancer, that's a DP and that has a rate, then you can work for people. They can work for people like you and like your company, right?
And this is something actually I do want to talk to the audience. I started this year because I was feeling that last year. So 4 years, like I said, I built this company. I didn't take a dime out of it. I put literally everything back, everything back, everything back. I didn't take a dollar back from the company until like literally this year. And but this year I felt that. I felt like my filmmaker was dying inside of me, right? So I started doing this January. Like I started now helping others, like just being a DP, and it was so amazing. Like I'm about to do one next week, right? Where I just go in, and set up an interview, set up B-roll, the typical, again, freelancer thing. And it's been so freeing that I don't have to quit doing that. I can still be, filmmaker inside, where I don't have to worry about post, I don't have to worry about crew, I don't have to worry about pre-production, selling, all of that. I'm just focused on, hey, we need an interview, we need B-roll. So basically what I'm coming at is you don't have to quit loving filmmaking. I did feel like last year, especially December, I was going through a lot of personal things. And I just felt like that spark was going away. And the only way I could bring it back, because like I said, I love being a business owner, I love helping other business owners, but it does take away from the filmmaking side of it, right? Because I have to bring in crew, and then they're doing the work I tell them to do, right? I don't actually get to be hands-on with the equipment. So anyway, that's something I started doing this year, and it's been very rewarding. I try to do one every couple of weeks, as much as I can. And obviously the revenue isn't that high because I'm just getting the DP rate, but it's brought that spark back. So.
I love that.